Hello everyone, this is Dwayne Wright of thepracticalba.com. In this presentation, we're going to talk about decision analysis. And I'm going to introduce a free tool that I created that might help in that process. It is designed to be collaborative, iterative, and ultimately build a single document that would help those who need to make the decisions to make informed decisions. So a few months ago, I released a tool called Business Case Builder. It was inspired from a passage in the Software Requirements 3rd edition guide by Carl Wiegers and Joy Betty. It looked something like this. You can find information and a presentation for it on the website. So this is a variation of that same structure. In fact, I duplicated that file and removed what I needed to and worked on getting the first release of this product out. Now this tool was inspired by another very important resource for business analysts called the Business Analyst Body of Knowledge, BABOK, by the IIBA. And specifically, you can find this on page 261 in a section labeled 10.16 Decision Analysis. And again, you can tell that it looks quite a bit like Use Case Builder, and the UI works the same. So if you've used Use Case Builder or plan on using Use Case Builder, this tool will be an easy migration over. So taking a look at the screen, it works much the same way as Use Case Builder. In this instance, though, it's building the framework of a decision documentation. So you have one or more fields that you enter in, and immediately it starts building this text document, something that can be copied and pasted, put into Word, sent as an email, that type of thing. And this gives you the ability to do searches and stuff, so it's in a database. But the end result is something that can be copied and pasted into Word, in email, any other types of documentations, could be popped into a BRD. The possibilities are almost endless. So you have a tool that quickly puts information together. It could be used as a single-use tool, as a BA just using it, or it could be put up on a server and have multiple people collaborate on it. And since it's in FileMaker Pro, it could be also a mobile or a web implementation as well. So as I just mentioned, this is a product that's built inside of FileMaker Pro. It is a database development tool that can be used on both Macintosh and Windows machines. It's one of the best cross-platform products I've ever used, if not the best. It also has multiple implementations for deployment. If you spend the time, you can make drop-dead gorgeous versions of these databases. I tend to be a little more fundamental in what I do, but that doesn't mean that you would be limited by those. You can make any kind of changes that you'd want to. And for more information about FileMaker Pro, check out their website at filemakerpro.com. So let's go ahead and just talk a little bit about this wrap-up field a little more. So this was inspired from, again, the Business Analyst Body of Knowledge by the IIBA, and if you're interested more inside of the BABOK or a professional organization dedicated to business analysts and project management professionals, go to IIBA.com. You can pick up the product from Amazon or any number of other sources. In this particular passage, it was from section 10.16.2 that talked about the decision analysis approaches. And it had a 5-point step. This tool that I've worked with, I just concentrated on the first 3. Again, it's a framework, so you could do the other implementations. So it's a very, very basic system. It starts at a root of the decision. It does link to different problems that you identify to that decision. Another opportunity that you could do is to have either a separate entity or branch the problem entity to have opportunities in there as well. After you've identified those are more core information that then feeds what you say are the alternatives. I could do this, I could do this, I could do that. These are different things that you could do different options for a decision. And then from those alternatives, you can have evaluations. So you can say, well, I think we should do this, this, or this. And then you can have the plus and minuses, pros and cons evaluations of each one of those alternatives. And all of those would wrap up inside of that single text information. So it could be shared, brought into a meeting, any number of different ways that you could do it to help facilitate not only the decision, but the information that goes behind the making of the decision. Just like I did with Use Case Builder, I will do a follow-up movie that gets into the technical nuts and bolts of how this thing was programmed. So if you want to try your hand at that, or if you're familiar with FileMaker Pro, this might be helpful to you. You may also look to get another FileMaker professional to bring it up to where you want the tool to be. These are available options. Again, I kind of want to stress this is a minimum viable product release. If you think of this in agile terms, I just pulled the very smallest minimum viable product backlog item as a component, and this is my product demo, if you will, to show that it's viable. But you could take it and then do all the rest of the backlog features that you want to add in. Some of these features could include linking of the problems area to alternatives or evaluations so that you would have a traceability going back and forth. You could do task assignments for evaluations. Again, if it's a collaboration type of environment, you could assign people things with deadlines, that type of thing. With Use Case Builder, I did have the ability where you could duplicate an area and any of the linked children components would automatically be duplicated. I haven't added that feature in this release. Email integration would be fairly easy to do with FileMaker Pro. I thought about scoring alternatives for, scoring for the alternatives and the evaluations, so you could sit there and give it a 1 to 10 and some sort of ranking that could be brought across. Also, organization change management features. Again, that was one of the things in the BABOK article. It says your implementation. Well, you might want to check what would the impact of the organization, what would be the impact to the organization when this decision is made. And you could add that as a component as well. So again, I want to go back to the wrap-up, and I know I'm going a bit fast on this. I'm just trying to stay under the YouTube 15-minute limit. The wrap-up, again, is broken up on the other side of the fence by a series of data entry fields, and some of these are broken up in tabs. So when you bring up the tool, the wrap-up is on the left, and then all your data entry is done in a tabbed environment off to the right. The very first tab is the General tab, and it just has some of your basic information, date enter, date due, and a description, and then that's, brought in an organized manner into the wrap-up. Now you can see that to the immediate right of the General tab is the Problems tab, and so that looks kind of like this. And when you fill in this information, that populates there. So each one of the problems is identified down in here, and you would click this little icon to bring up that screen and enter in the problem, and of course you can delete those. And then this is a mini wrap-up of the problem. So as you're seeing the screen and you're building your problems, you can see how it would look, and then it will go ahead and be integrated into the master wrap-up. This is the same way that's worked with alternatives, the immediate tab to the right. You can sit there and say, these are the different options that we see that we could go into. You would click on this icon or add a related alternative, and you can see a mini wrap-up of this area down here. Now, the next one, the evaluations, is not off the main tab. It's off the alternative. We're doing evaluations on the alternative options that we have for our decision. But so when you bring up the alternative area, then it will have the same thing, the left wrap up and the right where you'd add in your evaluations. And again, this is where people would go in and they would click this icon and they'd put in a bit of text and they would say whether it's positive or negative and automatically put their name in. And that way you have the building of a big document for the decision. You could have big decisions, little decisions, wrap-up decisions. You could have a set of linked decisions that would, be an overall approach. A lot of possibilities here. So we're just about done. I just kind of wanted to show, this is a screen that I brought over from the use case builder presentation. But again, you could just copy and paste these texts from the wrap up into something like Word and then do your basic header information to have a table of contents. You could put it inside of a business requirements document, a design document, any other kind of documentation that's mandated by your PMO or governing project organization. So that's it. You can see more information on my website, thepracticalba.com, and thank you very much for your time.